Hello everybody, my name is Fretex and welcome to a little mod spotlight on a mod called the Wheels of Time. Now I'm going to go over two very specific things that this mod adds to the, well, general feature list of Bannerlord as a mod. Now that is monsters and magic. Now you're thinking Bannerlord doesn't have monsters or magic. Yes, you're correct. This is a brand new kind of thing that they've added in with mods. I know different mods are working on this kind of thing, but this is the first one that seems to have it in a pretty good working fashion you can get your hands on right now. Now before I actually go into more detail on both things, I'm just going to quickly say if you do want to play this mod, it is pretty much available on 1.6.3, so you do have to roll back a version. Also, you want to be playing as the Shadow Spawn if you want to be using these type of things. Now this mod has already gone through and changed pretty much every base game faction already. There's various different cultures which are pretty cool. I haven't read much of this, but if you do like lore, I think this game has a lot of it. So feel free. Anyway, we're going to go right into actually playing as a Shadow Spawn character, and I'm going to show off some of the features this game has. Now, something that impresses me, even after just starting the game, you already start off with the power to destroy anything in your path. The game gives you two spells right off the bat. Even though there's no graphics for them yet, they are very powerful. As you can see, this one right here only has 3 attacks, but each attack can do 1,540 cut damage. Now, I kind of want to show this off in combat to show you how powerful this faction really is. If I go and attack these looters, most people might be a bit worried about fighting 9 looters by themselves at the start of the game, but with magic, it is not a problem. Now, as you can see, I look pretty basic here. I may have won a tournament before starting this video, but my hand shimmers. Sometimes you can see a slight light coming from my hand. This, everybody, is magic. And if I go and show you how it works, it is absolutely terrifying. So it kind of works like a throwing weapon, but it is amazing. As you can see, it kind of acts like a bolter, like a javelin bolt of lightning. It can just push through multiple enemies and destroy anything it touches. Literally anything. So I don't think anything in the game actually has more than 1,520 HP. Now, I've also got the fireball. As you can see, it does actually have a graphic when you fire it, and it is very powerful if you hit somebody in the head with it, which anything is really, but it is pretty amazing. And the AI could use these spells as well. If I go out and actually get myself some troops which are mages, they will also have the same spells I'm using and use them in combat, which is very exciting. So everybody, I've actually run out and got myself a handful of basic mages. These guys are the first guys you can actually get in the game and pretty much hide from any town. They're not even classed as a noble unit. Now, as you can tell by their glistening hands, they are... And are you guys going to sped up? This is a war, guys. Stop being so familiar. There is actually... They have one spell in their repertoire, which I think is a fire arrow, which does cut damage. Now, as you can see, they're going to start firing in a second, and they may not be the most accurate people in the world, but they do release the fire at the enemies. Now, I have noticed most time, if they do hit a looter, they do normally die in at least a hit or two, because it does do so much damage compared to normal. It's pretty devastating, as you can tell. Now, luckily for us, we haven't got to worry because looters have no morale and they run away. But this is just the first level of archer you can get for this faction. And there are many more ways. Oh, God, did you just hit my horse? Something I have noticed, by the way, is that fire does friendly fire, which is kind of terrifying because, as you can tell already, I'm nearly dead from just looking at my men with my horse, which is something to mind out for, because later on, especially if you get certain spells such as Fireball that do AoE, you might actually end up killing your own men with your mages if they shoot into combat, which I think is a very interesting thing of working. So as mentioned before, we have the Dark Fiend Channeler, who is the very basic mage in this faction. And something that I found very interesting, by the way, I've never seen in a mod so far, there probably is other people doing it, but this is the first time I've seen it myself, is that, I can't tell, the recruits have different XP levels for leveling up. So for instance, you can unlock the Sama Neilsay Nomad, not how you say that, before you can unlock the Dreadlord, which sounds absolutely terrifying. Now if you actually look at the skill tree itself, there is, as you can see, 3 different paths, and as it actually is aptly named, they do different types of magic. So as we had the Dark Fiend Channeler, who had a very basic fire arrow single, he turns into a Dreadlord with a fireball. Now the fireball does pierce damage, so will probably kill anybody in any situation if it's hit in the head or anything, but also it has AoE, which is not mentioned in this little descriptor here. Now, something I have actually noticed, which is a bit of a shame when it comes to these mages, is that the high level spells, especially stuff like lightning, does not seem to work very well with the AI. I have in the past had a little army of dreadlords with lightning, and they haven't really fired at all when it comes to attacking enemy at range. So you saw right there, the Dark Fiend Channeler did start shooting quite early on at quite good range. The Dreadlord will probably start attacking when the enemy is literally moments away from them, and probably hit them and kill them. But it's not very useful for having a mage that only shoots like a shotgun. I probably will do another snippet in a second showing you some Blossom of Fire and Lightning mages in action, so we can see the glory that is the magic in this mod. Now everybody, I have gathered every single high level mage I could possibly find with this faction, and they are ready to show off their extreme skills. I'm actually going to turn off the other guys because they seem to be a bit too powerful for their skill level. You guys just go and hide over there. Now I have got one of each type of spell. So we have Blossom of Fire, which seems to be some kind of fire arc that shoots outwards from the mage. We have Fireball, which as you can imagine is an AoE fire spell. We have Lightning, which seems to be kind of like the gun one I'm using right here, like a long railgunish attack, which fortunately hit the enemy there. And we got Master, Storm Master, who's actually got a more powerful version of the spell. Now, something you'll notice very quickly is that AI does not seem to fire until they get quite close at range. As mentioned before, they seem to be more like shotgun troops than anything else. Now, they have started to attack, apart from the Lightning Storm Master. 1 second, everybody. There you go. That's what I want to see. Beautiful, men. Kill them all. Now, if I go and inhabit the Storm Master and I fire the weapon, it does act like a railgun of sorts, but not very accurate at all. Even with this guy's skill level, the chance of him actually hitting the enemy is very low. So if I was to do a little recommendation for the developers, I would make these guys more accurate. Because first off, they don't seem to be shooting the enemy until they're very close, probably because of the accuracy rating. And without that, they're not really as useful as you would imagine in combat. Though, as to show a very close range attack, if I do shoot in a line, it will hit everybody in a line. So it's going to be very powerful fighting people in shield ball formations or in mass, which is going to be very cool. I'm sorry, mate. It had to happen. Weirdly, my horse is fine, which is a bit scary, to be honest, but it is what it is. So that's the basic magic available for this faction. And next up, we're going to be having a look at the second pillar of this mod, which I'm very interested in, which are monsters. Now everybody, the next part of the mod I want to show off is the monsters in the Wheels of Time mod. As you can tell, these are the Trollic Broodlings. They actually all are the same unit level, troop type, but they are actually quite different in terms of look. It seems that the Trollics are based off a variety of different beast forms of animals we know, and are probably not as terrifying as these fellas. For instance, we have clearly pig heads, eagle people, wolf people. It's pretty terrifying, and this guy, I don't know what this guy's based off, maybe a stag or something, but I would not want to mess with this guy in a dark alley, or any alley, in any situation in my entire life. Now, these guys do look pretty terrifying, wow. They are very basic units still, though. They're not exactly going to be running down and killing 20 looters a piece. They're kind of a bit basic in terms of their stats, but they do have very high athletics to kind of give them like a very monstery feel. If I actually go take over one quickly, you'll see that, I don't know if the developers done this purpose, but they kind of have like a bit of a, like an arched walk or run. They kind of walk slightly at angle to kind of give them like a more of a monstrous approach when they're running around, and kind of say, looking at this guy's feet, they've done a very, very good job in terms of artistic integrity here. If I actually leave the battle right now and have a look at the actual troop tree of these guys, you can see that they do have quite a large troop tree in terms of it's actually been fleshed out a little bit. I'm pretty sure this guy here looks absolutely horrifying. I'm pretty sure that each Trollic beast or troop type will actually have different types of beasts being in there as well. So you can have like an eagle berserker or a I don't know, a stag brute, as you can see by that guy. But they do look very, very awesome. Now, I would say something, just from pointing out from just playing Bannerlord quite a lot, I do think they need to be a bit more adventurous with their stats, because I'm very happy that they've given them 200 HP, 200 effects at the start to make them run very fast and be kind of imposing. But unfortunately, their actual fighting skills are very, very low, with only 20 like one-handed skill. For instance, I was on about them not being that good at fighting. Looters are double in terms of strength. That's not exactly that shouldn't be happening with body. If you fight one of these guys should be terrifying, and I think that they should be reflected in their stats. Now, as you can see anyway, apart from that, I would say as a small hint of maybe they could be improving things here, they do actually level up to 400 athletics in the end, which actually gives them a bunch of HP. If you recall, if you played the game before, you notice if you go over 250 HP, not HP. If you go 250 stat points in athletics, you actually get a skill which gives you 1 HP per stat point. So these guys are going to have a lot of HP, and they're going to be very hard to take down, despite also having very heavy armor. As you see, these guys have 60 armor. They are terrifying, and even their chest piece seems to be moving around to support their beastly performance. The other guys seem to be, what are these, Maradol, how will you say this? Seems to be like an offshoot of the main Trollic branch, which I think look very, very awesome. I don't know what these guys are based off, but same thing that goes with the Stag Beast. If I met one of these guys in Dark Alley, I would not want to be there either. Now, these guys seem to be pretty much something like elite monsters. I'm really not sure on the lore of this, but they do act in a pretty interesting way. If I actually go and show one off later on in the video, I'll show you some of these guys in action. But they seem to have very high stats, they have very dangerous weapons, and they already start off with some very high skill levels, which is more what I would expect from the Trollocs as well. I'd actually put these up even higher personally. The limit's 350, guys. Make these guys absolutely terrifying. So what we'll do in a second, I'll quickly get some of these guys leveled up, and we can see these guys in action with their quite unique and terrifying presence on the battlefield. Now everybody, I have run around and I've got myself some higher level units to show off with this mod. So I have got myself some mounted Maradol, only one, they're very expensive to get leveled up. They need so much XP, it's ridiculous. And some slightly higher level Trollocs. Now I didn't actually get them to the highest level, mostly because the Trollocs have some weird low level weapons which make them very hard to survive battles and also get any kills. I'll show you afterwards though, so we can quickly have a look at why that's a bit of a problem in terms of leveling these guys up. But these guys though are a different breed. Their face looks broken, by the way. I think it's on purpose. If you look at different ones, they have like different warped faces. Each one has like a different strangeness going on with them. Although these two happen to be exactly the same. Damn it, game. I wanted to show off different types of faces. Oh, and the third one's the same as well. That's just my luck, isn't it? There you go. This guy has a different type of face. That's what I wanted to see. So if we get over the attack, let's show off the power of the Maradol, which is very terrifying. Actually, even their run is kind of monstrous in a way because of just how they hunch over while moving. Now, this is basically my kind of unit in a heartbeat because it's got a giant two-handed sword and it knows how to use it. Just like that, we've already won. Now, something I kind of wish this had was maybe a crush through on the sword, because it only can kill one guy at a time. I would love to see it carve through multiple enemies in one hit. But as you saw, that was very rapid. We quickly dispatched enemies in short fashion. And also, as mentioned before, that was mainly due to the Maradol's amazing ability in combat. The Trollocs are not as powerful. I'll quickly go over why I think that's a bit of a problem. So if I go and look at the stats here, we have the Broodling, the Beast, the Man-Eater, and I think it stops at Berserker. Yes, it does. So all these units here, including the Brute, these 4 units here seem to have a major issue that their weapon has only got 26 damage. Now, I don't know why this is the thing, because it does mean that these units are not going to survive very often because their skills are very low in terms of actually fighting. They got very low skills, one-handed 50, 50, 50. I'm not sure if this is meant to be like a thing of lore. I might be completely mistaken in that it's a lore thing where the Trolloc is en masse, like a en masse fighter, where they're terrible at fighting man to man, but they do have numbers in their side. I'm not sure about that one though. But yeah, these guys are very hard to level up in terms of Bannerlord itself and the game mechanics because the weapons are so low. Even if you go and do like try and spam simulation matches, because the weapon is so low damage, it won't actually get much XP. But of course, it's totally different once you get towards the Berserker range and the Skull Crushers and Devourers, because these guys are actually, even though the skills are the same, they actually are given units, weapons that actually do damage. 109, let's have a look here. 109 again, and 109. A lot of 109s apparently. These guys are going to work a lot better. They got better armor. They have the same skills, but they do have a weapon that can actually kill enemies. Where these guys, right from the start, are going to be your main damage in the game because these guys are terrifying. They have a good weapon, they have good armor, and they look absolutely amazing. Apart from that, everybody, I think that's going to be it for my little overview of the monsters of this faction. Hopefully there will be expansion in the future. I presume all of this is in beta, by the way. This mod is not finished. It is not a finished product. I think they're working on a proper world map as well. And I presume a lot of other stuff as well. So this mod is great if you are a bit bored of basic camaraderie at this point, having the same old map, the same old few factions, which are pretty much the same in terms of their units, stats, and skills. This mod has a nice variety of loads of different factions. I'm not sure how many there are. But there is a lot. So as you can see from this right here, each one has its own troop trees. Some factions even have multiple troop trees inside their own little factions. And I think it adds a nice variety to the game if you've gotten over the base game factions at this point. Now, this is, I'm mentioning, I just say it again, just to put a point, this is a modern beta. It is not finished, not even remotely close to being finished. I presume eventually we're going to have a lot of new stuff being added to the game and also this mod down the line, and I cannot wait to play it again when it's more fleshed out. Apparently, everybody, I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. I know it's a bit different than normal, but I thought I'd give this a shot. As always, please like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.